Okay, so for week 2 of fall anime, we get some more expositions explaining what each of these stories are all about. And like before, I'll have the rankings of each episodes up here. This isn't to rate the series as a whole, but like how I felt about each episode this week. And it's kind of hard to rank animes of different genres because some have a lot of story, some have a lot of action, some of them are just setup episodes. I try to keep it as just the amount of enjoyment I got from watching the episode. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so for The Wandering Witch, episode 3. Wow, this anime just keeps hitting hard. My favorite episode of this week, just because of the amount of emotional tension they put the viewer through. So yeah, we start with Elaina just traveling. She comes across a flower field on her broomstick. And it's like this big, nice, beautiful flower field. And then as she lands on it, she finds a beautiful woman just standing there, kind of just absent-mindedly enjoying the flowers. And then the woman asks Elaina, "Hey, can you deliver these flowers to the next town over? They'll really like it." And then she said, "Oh, you don't need to give it to anyone in specific. Just make sure you deliver it to the town." So yeah, very innocent request, but as you can tell in this anime, don't take anything at face value. So kind of the nonchalantness made it a little bit creepy. But yeah, Elaina has no reason to refuse since it's like a nice lady. So she takes the flowers, she sails into the next town over on her broom, and then she gets stopped by the security guards. They're like, "Nah, you can't bring that shit in here. That's forbidden. That's taboo." They don't really explain why until like Elaina keeps pestering, and then they basically say these flowers are cursed, and whoever has these flowers basically are possessed to go back to the flower field. Elaina obviously didn't know, so like the guard burns the flowers, but then the second guard, he realizes that the flowers were wrapped with his sister's shawl. That girl in the flower field that we saw earlier, she was actually this dude's sister. She was kind of captivated by the flowers, so the dude just runs off and tries to rescue her, as Elaina just minds her own business. And then sometime later, Elaina goes to the flower field and she discovers the girl that gave her the flowers, her body just solidified into this flower. So she's this beautiful girl once, and now it's so sad she turned into a flower. And her brother is there trying to touch her, and he looks possessed by the flowers as well. He has like roots growing on his face. And he's just like, "Oh, I'm so happy. I'm finally reunited with my sister." So then Elaina, there's nothing she can do at this point, so she just sails away. The anime is giving us vague endings to these stories, where instead of telling us exactly what happens, Elaina kind of recalls, "Oh, I read about this in a book. It might be something similar." There's like a big ass flower monster that lures people into it, and now there are zombies headed to the town. So it's ambiguous as to what happened, but I like to think that the townspeople fended off these flower monsters and lived happily ever after. So after that, we get a second adventure of Elaina, where she goes to this village. She finds a boy, and he has a bottle, and it's full of happiness, so he's collecting happiness of people. We don't really know how he does it, but yeah, he collects happiness in a bottle, and he says he's giving it as a present to this girl he likes that works in his house, because he kind of has feelings for her. He wants her to be happy. So yeah, they go to the village, and Elaina realizes that this guy is the son of the village chief. They're basically the highest position of the village. And then as Elaina sits down, gets breakfast, she realizes that the housemaid is actually a slave that was kidnapped from the east, basically taken. And yeah, just they hit us with the child trafficking right there. She looks kind of scared. There's obviously signs of abuse. We see the village chief come through, and he's basically like the ugly bastard trifecta right here. This dude is fat. He abuses women. He also checks out Elaina, so he's a pedo. So on top of all of that, yeah, if you have any reason to hate this guy, you have 50 reasons right there. So then, yeah, the maid drops a glass vase and breaks it because she's all nervous. And then the village chief kind of goes ham on her. He's like, "Hey, how dare you break this? Come on." Even though she's just like this 14-year-old like slave from the east. But yeah, Elaina fixes the vase, so she actually points her wand at the village elder. So yeah, Elaina realizes that all this is kind of fucked up, but she can't really attack the village chief, so she asks the dude, the son of the village chief. Hey, you have that bottle of happiness, right? Maybe it's a perfect time to give it to her. She seems kind of depressed that she broke the vase. So he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Also, he seems kind of salty that he couldn't fix the vase himself, so he has like an inferiority complex about his magic. So yeah, that's a bonus plot point right there. Anyway, so he gives her the bottle of happiness, and it actually works. So we see a bunch of like happy memories, like a family getting together, going to the beach, like all just these happy moments. The thing is that dude kind of fucked up because now that this slave girl has seen all these happy memories, it makes her even more depressed. She starts crying because these are things that she cannot have. She can never have these happy memories. She's just forever stuck being a slave, raped, tortured, beaten, no free will. Yeah, he thinks he did a good job, but secretly she's high-key depressed. And then after that, so Elaina realizes that this is none of her business. It's way too complicated. It's way too complex to actually even solve. And if she even rescues this girl, she might not even be doing the right thing. So she leaves. Their fate is ambiguous to what's gonna happen, because since this uber depressed slave girl, Elaina says she read a story similar to this when she was younger about a uber depressed woman that was stuck at home, couldn't leave, and her husband shared with her all these happy memories of the outside, and it even made her more depressed because this is stuff that she can't have, so she just killed herself. We don't know if the slave girl Nino actually killed herself, but it is implied. I like to think, since the ending is ambiguous, that she escaped the household since she saw Elaina leave. She was like, yeah, maybe I should leave and make my own memories. And maybe she succeeded and she lives her own life of freedom somewhere. Or she died. It's good to be optimistic when consuming these types of emotional stories. Okay, so for Jujutsu Kaisen Episode 3, we introduce a new character. Her name is Nobara. She's another first-year student of Jujutsu High. She's from the countryside, so she's visiting Tokyo. She acts like a big tourist. She also acts like kind of tough, so it's kind of like the anime trope where the girl is really tough, but then she's kind of self-conscious about her looks. The squad head to this cursed house in Tokyo, and their first training mission is to destroy all the curses in this house. And it's kind of a test to see what Nobara can really do with her abilities. So she's kind of stuck up at first. She tells Yuji, hey, hey, let's split up. I'll go to the top floor, you stay in the bottom floor. We get this over with faster. So yeah, they do the one thing you shouldn't do, which is split up. But yeah, she finds the cursed spirit. It's like this mannequin, and she destroys it pretty easily. But then there's a second cursed spirit, and it's a weak spirit, but it takes a hostage. This little boy is stuck in the cursed building, and he's taken hostage. And Nobara is kind of stuck because she's like, I can't let him die, but then it'd be worse if I die too. So Yuji comes in to save the day. He punches the wall behind the demon. He grabs the demon, beats it up, and there we go. Nobara also showcases her ability. She has these metal needles and a hammer, and she just hammers the needles in the air and just like slams them into the opponent. It's pretty cool. She also has voodoo doll tech, where she can throw a voodoo doll at a body part of a monster, so if the monster escapes, she can destroy the voodoo doll and the monster just dies in turn. So yeah, really cool action this episode, and we get Nobara's backstory where, yeah, she really hates the countryside because one day when she was younger, this beautiful girl moved into her neighborhood, and all the country folk they were starting rumors about her, saying how she's better than everyone else. Like, they're just bullying her into just leaving. So Nobara really liked this girl. They hung out together, so she was sad that the countryside really is like this. So she just left because being in the countryside is as good as dying. Her life won't go anywhere. That's her motivation. It's pretty simple, yet it tells us a bit about her. How she wants to do something more with her life. She wants to see how the city fares, how nice big cities are. It's kind of funny for me since I live in a big city, so it's like, I don't know, cities kind of suck, but they have their own charm. Probably compared to like the Hicks, where everyone is just like stuck in their own traditional ways. Okay, so for Higurashi, When They Cry, episode 3. Damn, okay, so Rena kind of went off in this episode, and we'll get there. So it starts off with the end of the Watanagashi festival. Keiichi sees the photographer dude talking to this blonde woman. He kind of thinks nothing of it, and he walks away. Rena's there watching him creepily. And then the next day in school, this police officer comes through and asks to talk to Keiichi. This police officer's name is Oishi, and he's kind of a cool dude. He says, come to my car, we can talk in private. So yeah, he gives Keiichi kind of a rundown on like this town's rumors. The big one is that every year someone seems to die on the day of the festival, which was yesterday. And he says the photographer and the blonde lady, they're both reported missing. He poses the question, maybe those are the two people that are chosen to die. Keiichi kind of tries not to believe it. He's like, wow, that's suspicious, but yo, no way that's true. But then yeah, Oishi has like proof. It dates back for like a couple of years. Like people died, and then their wife or significant other also like disappeared or like killed themselves reportedly. He has like a follow-up meeting with Keiichi in the restaurant where he says there's more to the story where people disappear, but they're actually like taken by a demon, which is pretty crazy. So Keiichi goes walking with Reina alone, and he wants to ask her about all these fucked up things that are happening. And he asks, hey Reina, you haven't been 100% honest with me, right? Is there anything you're hiding from me? And Reina just goes off. It's like when you ask a girl if something's wrong, and she just takes out all the stuff she bottled out and pulls it out on you. She yells, she's so angry, she's like, I'm trying to protect this town, I'm working so hard, I'm doing this and that. We have no idea what's happening, but she's so angry. And then she also grills Keiichi, hey, you're also lying to me too, You've been talking to a cop, you know these things. So both sides are fighting, and Reina just chills a little bit. She takes it from 100 to 0, and just like smiles and says, we can both lie to each other, it's fine. So then when Keiichi goes home, he gets a call from the police officer, Oishi, and then he tells him about Reina. Apparently Reina actually lived in this town before. She moved in, similar to Keiichi, but we get a contradiction where she was a part of this town, she moved, and she moved back. Also, she had some mental problems she had in her old town, where she was breaking the glass windows and everything, so they had to transfer her. So yeah, she's a little psychotic, which we know from all her bipolar actions. And then Keiichi's dad tells him, Reina's home, I brought you some tea for both of you. And Keiichi freezes, he's shook, he's like, what you mean Reina's here? Reina's not in my room. And then his dad was like, yeah, I saw her. And then Keiichi realizes that Reina was eavesdropping on him. She was hiding in his closet, she heard everything on the phone call, him talking to a cop. And then she exits through the window before Keiichi can do anything. Reina just holds all the power right now. We don't know what she's gonna do with it, but damn. Okay, so for sports climbing girls, episode 3, we start off with some intro about building muscles. And it's voiced by none other than Dio, where it's this big muscular guy with white hair, and he's climbing this mountain, and he's talking about how, oh, building your muscles will improve your body, your physique, and your brain. It's just the motivational speech given by Dio, who's apparently playing anime dads now. We go back to the rock climbing gym with the 4 girls. Konomi has to strengthen up her body because that's the reason she couldn't climb the past 2 problems in the competition, because just her body is just too weak, she's shaking. So they go on a workout montage, all 4 of them, where they do body weight type of exercises just to not be big and bulky, but to be actually just to be strong enough to climb the walls. So like core exercises like leg raises with the ball and push-ups, jogging, sprinting, and one-legged squats, hesitation pull-ups where they just hold on to the rocks. So a bunch of core exercises with a bit of just overall muscle training. It's pretty nice seeing these girls work out. On the next day, they plan a trip to go bouldering on the anti-monkey rock. So this boulder is so hard to climb that even monkeys can't do it. So then Konomi goes to the place early, an hour early, so she looks around. And she sees this white-haired girl sitting on the street staircase, just playing a mobile game. And you know how Konomi is with her games, so the white-haired girl acts uninterested, and then she said, oh, I never lost, and then Konomi beats her 10 times in a row. So yeah, she calls her master now, and then they go to the anti-monkey rock later. So we meet the girl, her name is Kiko, and her father is the Dio that we saw before. They're both white-haired characters, and they're both good at rock climbing. So the father's called Goto Juzo, and the gamer girl is Kiko. And yeah, they go bouldering. Konomi realizes that bouldering is actually really scary. The rocks are really sharp, and you can fall and actually hurt yourself. They have padding, but it's scary the first few times. So then they tell her, oh, it's you can take it slow because if you fall down in bouldering, you can climb back up. Like falling down doesn't automatically disqualify you. And we also get backstory for Kiko, where she has a dream to match her dad's like legendary bouldering. Like he climbed this tall ass boulder. He was the first one to do it, so she wanted to match him with that. Konomi ends the episode realizing that you need to have faith in your body because your mind can solve all these rock climbing problems, but you need to trust your body to actually execute them. Okay, so for Noblesse episode 2, I actually saw the OVA this time before watching because I realized that is required. So the OVA kind of tells you that Jake and Mary were part of this organization and they were evil and they were trying to eliminate the experiments M21 and M24, and then Rai came from the coffin. So yeah, we get that backstory there from the OVA. It wasn't bad either. Also, we find out what the Noblesse is. We actually see two white-haired vampire type of characters. One was Sarah and one was Regis, and they're more Noblesse. And then we get the backstory of what a Noblesse is, where they are kind of a little superior to humanity, but they're not bad. They're actually there to help humanity. Humanity kind of looks up to them. At least they did in the past. Now they're just chilling, just analyzing humanity. So the Noblesse are actually heroes. So then after that, we get Shinwoo, the red-haired dude, who's actually really strong. And then he fights off a gang to save his friends. And then those two white-haired dudes that came to the school, they were impressed that Shinwoo was actually so strong and humanity is actually growing. They probably don't need the Noblesse anymore. And then M21 also helps Shinwoo. So yeah, a cool fight with everyone. And now Frankenstein's house has 5 people in it, with him, Rai, M21, and the 2 white-haired people. Okay, so for The Day I Became a God, this is an anime by PA Works, who made shows like Charlotte and Angel Beats, which have a common theme with this show, where they're nice slice of life comedy shows that have dark and sad undertones. So we'll probably reach that in the future. Here it just starts off innocently with this dude who's playing basketball. He's our main character, Yota, and he meets a girl who calls herself Odin. She's like a pink-haired girl, and she's an omniscient god, so she knows everything. And she tells him that the world is going to end in 30 days. That's our main motivation. So she kind of tells Yuta to do stuff. Yuta goes to the library to meet up with his childhood friend Kyoko, who he has a crush on. And then Hina kind of tells him to, hey, make a move on her. And then Hina tries to hook him up by saying, oh, she likes baseball. So Hina actually knows. So Hina's actually omniscient, so she knows everything about everything. So they have a quick baseball episode where Yota just chokes in the baseball game. And then when he asks Kyoko out, she rejects him. So then next episode, we go with Odin and Yuta living together in the same house. We see the little sister, Sora, come in too. And then the parents are all accepting of this. They do more activities with trying to hook up Yota, and Kyoko. So the little sister has a movie project she has to do in the summer. They try to get Yota to reenact movies with the help of Kyoko, hoping to make them closer together. Odin writes the stories, and she just copies some famous movies. One was like Armageddon by Bruce Willis, where they had to stop a meteor hitting Earth by nuking it. One of them was Rocky, they're boxing. But yeah, after all those failed, they write a song, because Odin says that, hey, Kyoko's actually high-key interested in music and music psychology. Yeah, they write a song. Yoda tries to copy it to her on the piano, and he kind of fails a little bit. But Kyoko, appreciating the music, joins in and helps. So then Yota had the moment to ask her out right there. The mood was set, and then he just fumbled it. And he says, oh, I hope to study with you more. And yeah, that's it. A nice slice of life episode. We end off with the little sister kind of getting injured or something. So yeah, there's some drama there. Okay, so for Tonikaku Kawaii, episode 3, we have Nasa and Tsukasa going to a bathhouse together just because they don't have a shower in their household. We get some things where Tsukasa needs her own shampoo and lotion. Nasa's all surprised, like, wow, that's how girls smell good. They use all these things. And then Tsukasa was like, nah, lotion was invented like thousands of years ago, bro. So then in the bathhouse, we get these two sisters, Kaname and Aya. Kaname is like this younger girl who makes sexual jokes with Nasa. It was kind of inappropriate, but whatever. When he reveals that he's married to Tsukasa, she kind of just is so shocked. And then we get a reveal where Aya has actually had a crush on Nasa. And then Aya meets Tsukasa in the woman's bath, and then she's very nervous but very aggressive at the same time. So she has a interesting personality, gives rise to a lot of comedy, where she makes Tsukasa uncomfortable a lot. So then at the end, Aya thinks that Tsukasa is related to Nasa. She doesn't understand that they're actually married. So she thinks it's a cousin or something. So then, yeah, Aya also had a crush on Nasa because he saved their bankrupting bathhouse from going down by using some cool tax techniques. So shout out Donald Trump's lawyer right there. NASA's got you running for your money. But then Aya's like really beautiful, so Tsukasa gets a little jealous, and NASA kind of doesn't help her out. And then at the end, Tsukasa walks home by herself, and then we get this blonde girl in a limo pulling up suspiciously. So she might be related to Tsukasa, and we will see next episode. Okay, so for DanMachi, Season 3, Episode 3, we have Bell getting a request from the guild saying, come through to floor 20 and bring the animal girl with you, Wine. So then he kind of is a little nervous, but he follows through with it because why not? They speed run through the dungeon, have to fight a bunch of monsters but make it. And then on the other side, we see Hestia having to talk to someone as well in a secret message. She goes to see a representative of the Ikelos familia, I think, and then he tells her about the rise of animals with intelligence and how they need to protect them and maybe make a society for them, because yeah, we can't introduce them to the public now because they're gonna panic. So but animals with intelligence are rising and they have their own community. So she's asking Hestia and her familia to help be the bridge between humanity and monsters. So Belle and his squad go fight the monsters because they kind of scare them in a battle. And then after a bit, where all the monsters target Wine and all the Hestia familia members go raise their swords to defend her, they realize, yeah, these are good people, we can trust them. And then, yeah, they revealed themselves to be Xenos. There's the bird lady we saw, and there's the lizard man as like the leaders. And then, yeah, there's like a lot of them, and yeah, they have their own hidden village. And yeah, there we have it so far. The plot basically setting up for monsters with intelligence. They're good people, but how are we gonna introduce them to the world and not have people kill them? Okay, so for Yashahime Episode 3, we have the three girls, Moroha, Towa, and Setsuna, fighting the centipede lady. They fight her with Towa's magical blade. And now all three girls are together. Setsuna has no memory of Towa, and Moroha, we realize, is the daughter of Kagome, so she's actually one of the more important characters. So apparently these dudes from Inuyasha don't take care of their daughters, they just leave them. They do like the Spartan training on them, just leave them to the wild and have them defend themselves. So this episode was kind of corny, where her human little sister was taken hostage by the bug, so she had to kind of take care of her a bit. And then it's revealed that Setsuna cannot sleep. She had her dreams stolen by like a butterfly. So also her memories of her past. So that's why Setsuna and Towa don't know each other. So that's pretty sad. Maybe we have to rescue Setsuna's memories one time. And they're probably going to go back through the well at some point. Or through the tree, I think it is. Okay, so for Haikyuu to the Top, Season 2, Episode 3. This episode was interesting because we got backstory for Tanaka, but the thing is we kind of already knew most of this, but it was still pretty strong. So Tanaka was kind of making some misplays in the game, which kind of took him out of it. The score is actually really close. They're like neck and neck, 23-23, etc. So then Tanaka, like he gets blocked a bit. He misses some shots to the out of bounds. So then the team kind of stops passing it to him. They pass it to the ace instead. And then we get a backstory about Tanaka. He, skill-wise, he's not super powerful. He can't jump super high. He's not super strong. But he's just like normal athletic, and has a good heart. So then, yeah, he has to keep hustling. That's his into volleyball. And yeah, Karasuno take the first set. I feel like obviously the other team, Inarizaki is gonna probably take the second set, and it'll be a nail biter for the third set. Okay, so for Dropout Idol Fruit Tart episode 1, I just wanted to check out this anime just because I saw a trailer of it and it looked kind of cute and nice. So really quickly, it's basically about these kind of dropouts of the industry. They're misfits. They can't find work and they're stuck in this house where they're gonna be kicked out of the industry if they don't set up this idol group. And then they're kind of fruit themed idols. Our main character is Ino, and she's a pink haired girl just full of energy and wants to be an idol. And she drags all these other girls with her: Nina, Hanyou, and Roko. So yeah, we have our cast. One of them is like a big model girl who's kind of shy. One of them is a foreign, wild, excited girl. And one is a angry, short, lolly looking girl. But yeah, I'll see if I'll continue watching this. This first episode was okay, but it was a bit generic. And, idol shows, they can be hit or miss.